Okay, so Paul is focusing on the root of salvation, what goes on internally in us. He's saying, you know what? Your salvation is an internal thing, but you're trying to make it an external thing. James focuses on the fruit of salvation, what happens on the external of our life. So they're both saying, wait a minute. When someone has it all internal and they're not showing anybody, James is saying, come on, you got to get it out of you. Paul, on the other hand, is looking at someone, it's all on the outside, none of it's on the inside. He's saying, wait a minute, you got to bring some of it back in the middle. It's got to be both in you and on the outside of you if we listen to these two men. And just so you know, that James isn't making this stuff up. A moment ago I said he heard it firsthand. He could quote his big brother, Jesus, and Jesus said this, by their fruit you will know them. What does that mean? Paul's saying the root is important. But James is saying if the roots are down deep and the roots are nourished, there's going to be some fruit. Right now, we've got some trees in our backyard. And I actually have thought about going out there and rescuing those trees from their fruit. I mean, literally, they're producing the biggest, what are those things? Grapefruit. I'm like, who in their right mind, sorry God, but who would put a grapefruit that big, well, that big, and those trees are producing this grapefruit, and those trees are going, whoa. They're producing all this fruit. Well, you can tell the tree is healthy by the fruit.
Right there.
Yeah. If the root is not healthy, then the fruit will not be healthy. You know what it's like? You take one of those the same tree, the same age, you put it in a pot, and its roots are all bound up. And what's it going to do? It's going to put out a grapefruit about that big, and you're going to go, gee, thanks. Yeah. You take that thing and you put it down in good soil, and the roots are in good soil, and what's going to happen? Big old fruit. And Paul and James are not controversial to each other. Paul's saying to the believers of his day, it's not just about the fruit. You've got to have some roots down deep. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's not all just external. You've got to go deep first, and then the byproduct, James says, is there's going to be good works or fruit on your tree. Right. So let's bounce along here. What is Paul saying? Paul teaches us this, how to know. Everyone say no. How to know you're a Christian. James is saying this, how to show. Everyone say show. How to show you're a Christian. Paul says how to become. Say become. How to become a believer. James says how to behave like a believer. There should be a behavior. You know, what do I say all the time as a pastor? I do this often, and I do this for a reason. I say all the time, as Champion Life Church, if you're a part of Champion Life Church, there's certain behavior that we cannot allow to be a part of our lives. I say it all the time. We don't act like that, church. Right. We don't act like that. And that's not because of what I'm saying is these religious things. Right. I'm not saying I want people to look at you and go, wow, you're part of Champion Life Church. Yeah, I am. That's not why. I'm not saying so you get kudos in this community because you're part of Champion Life Church, like, yeah. No, because I want the fruit, everybody say fruit. The fruit to back up the root in your life.